Hello, everyone. For Grayman Media, I am your host, Devin Gray, and this is Down to Earth with Wesley Keyes. Wesley is an aspiring music artist here in Louisville, Kentucky. He is a great father to his daughter, Justice, and one of my closest friends. You can find him on Facebook and Snapchat at Contro_23 and Instagram at Contro_1295, and that is Contro with a K. Wesley, how are you today?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Fantastic, man. Thanks for being on.
I appreciate it. I'm honored.
Yeah, episode 1 of Down to Earth. So, Wesley, one of the things that I want to kind of talk about and give you the opportunity to talk about that I think that a lot of people might want to know, especially like I know a little bit more about you than some of the other people in the group. Why don't you let us know a little bit about your childhood?
Started out in Fern Creek, Kentucky. My birthday is January 2nd, 1995. I started out in Fern Creek, Kentucky for the first 9 years of my life with my aunt and my uncle, who pretty much raised me as my parents. And my aunt passed away when I was 8. My biological mother passed away when I was 5, and then I went to go live with my dad downtown in the inner city. And from there, like just journeying back and forth with my uncle is how I met you, of course. And the rest is history.
Yep. I wish I would have prepared some questions. Let's kind of go. Let's go back a few years.
Okay.
To your time in Fern Creek. Why don't you take us there?
First place I lived was on Wimsett Way, right down the street from Fern Creek High School. Then after that, we moved to Dominium Homes. I think they changed the name of the suburb. It's something different now, which is across the street from Watterson Elementary School. And I lived there for maybe 2 or 3 years. And after that, that's when I moved with my dad.
Yeah.
Just being in the area out here, one of my closest childhood friends, Jesse, I haven't seen him in a while. Shout out to him. He was like one of the only friends I really had until I moved out of the area. Then when I moved to the suburb, crazy thing about it, I ended up next door to my cousin, who I didn't know was my cousin, then found out. And one of my other closest childhood friends, Desiree, shout out to her, by the way. We've been friends 2 decades next year. We've been friends since first grade. I still talk to her a lot. I'm very close with her family. Her family was there for me through some of the most, like, dramatic times, like in bad times of my life when I was younger and my mom was in and out of the hospital. After she passed away when I was 9, I went to go live with my real dad downtown, and I was staying back and forth from his house to my aunt's house on 37th and Garland in the West End, and going back and forth, bouncing between house and house as I went through elementary school, middle school, and high school.
Yeah, let's talk about, because that's something that's very I don't know how it's hard to be in that perspective unless you literally live through that. What is it like, losing your mother at such an early age? Like, A, like, what does that do to you as a child? And B, how does that manifest itself into now that you're an adult?
Well, honestly, I can say on that subject that it screwed me up emotionally. I'm not going to lie to anybody. I felt more alone in the world, like, after she left. I know I was a problem child and everything else, but after she left, I honestly felt like I didn't have anybody. And just growing up in a house by yourself, because all of my other biological siblings were in their 20s and 30s at the time, I was pretty much isolated. I really didn't have anybody else in the house that could relate, that was around my age. I was pretty much alone. And going from there, it's like, I don't think I've ever been perfect emotionally because of that. That did cripple me in some way, I'm not going to lie, because my mind never got a good grasp on it. And I'm still I still have issues with the reality to this day. But honestly, losing her at a young age put fear in me and honestly making me like promise myself I would never let anything happen to me while my daughter is that young. So, because I don't want her to go through what I went through. Because losing the person you're closest to, especially a parent, it's scary.
Yeah, I can't. Like obviously, I in a sense lost my father around the age of 10, but
Yeah.
that's a very different sets of circumstances. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, what to somebody who might be going through that similar situation as you, what do you wish somebody would have told you? Like, what do you know now that you would have told yourself back then?
Damn, that's a really good question. Honestly, don't isolate yourself from people, because that is the main reason like I've never been able to deal with death or tragedy in my life correctly and actually like talk about it. I talk to people, but at the same time I'm very much to myself. Like I close myself off a lot. And my dad used to tell me a lot as a kid, like holding all that emotion back could end up backfiring badly. And it caused me to say some things and do some things I shouldn't have done and hurt people I shouldn't have hurt at a young age, because I was so messed up that I really didn't think about how anybody else felt. I only thought about how I felt. And honestly, that's the one thing I would have told myself, like, be more caring. When somebody tries to talk to you, listen. Don't make it all about you. And like, don't make yourself emotionally unavailable to everybody.
I think that's sound advice for anyone.
Yeah.
Like that's just really solid advice. Like I see that in a lot of, especially with the way technology is kind of separate. In a way, it's bringing us closer together, but it also kind of separates us.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people are just kind of, they close themselves off, especially when they're dealing with trauma.
Yeah.
I can't imagine going through that type of trauma at such an early age. Okay. So you talked a little bit about how, you might have said some things and did some things that you probably would not have done. So what specifically about embracing other people around you how could that have helped?
Honestly, I think it would have just made life a lot better, because me acting the way I used to act, I just didn't care. Like, people were there for me, but I was so closed off that I felt like nobody was. And it just turned out bad, man. It's like my aunt, my favorite aunt out of all of them, she was the one who was there for me the most. She's the only person who called me and cried with me after my mom died. And I did some things I really shouldn't have like done to her, like the way I would, like stealing from her, doing other things like that. It's like I hurt somebody who was genuinely there for me.
And do you think that was just because you should have been going through a grieving process, but you were kind of just not going through that process at all?
Yeah. Even though it was years later, I mean, I still never actually coped with everything.
Do you think you ever faced it even to this day? Or at least properly?
To some degree, yes, and to some degree, no. Because I can say I've honestly never found closure. I never have.
You want to go into that a little bit more?
I felt because she was really sick. Like, when I was a kid coming up, she ended up in a wheelchair, ended up on oxygen and everything else. And I know I was kind of like I said, I was hard to deal with. But I know I was hard to deal with, and I just caused like a lot of problems, and I don't know, man. It's
kind of just, you were just kind of a trouble
yeah.
kid.
And I didn't understand. And she, like, when I say somebody who loves you more than like anything in the world, like no matter how bad I was, she still loved me unconditionally.
Yeah.
And like that has, I don't know, man, it's caused a lot of issues just in general. Like, I've had relationship issues and everything just because I never really coped with it. I've always blamed myself more than anybody else, because I thought my actions and everything I did probably took a toll on her because she was already sick. So I felt like I drove her into the grave, and it was like a honest like guilt that hung over me for a while. But my cousin told me like, I was the reason she kept pushing, even though she was very, very sick. Because, like I said, she had diabetes. She was in a wheelchair. She was on oxygen. She was in and out of the hospital the last few years she was here with me. And I felt like it was my fault. For a while, I did. Well, I still do to some degree. But she told me, like, my cousin really told me I was the reason she wanted to hold on. She wanted to stay long enough for me. Still finding peace with that, like, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
And not being able to say goodbye. That was one of the biggest regrets.
Did you have that opportunity at all?
No.
Yeah. That must, I mean, again, I can only empathize because I've never gone through anything even remotely close. I mean, I think the closest thing to that would be, maybe losing my cousin, but, we weren't all that close. I mean, we were kind of younger when we were younger, but obviously as we grew older, it was, and then, recently losing Kyle obviously was, and that was really weird for me because that was the first time anybody that I was close to my age, like, died. And then it's kind of like you look inward and you're like, fuck, man, we're really not immortal.
Yeah.
There's still some of that lingering, like, teenage, like, I'm invincible. And, like, that kind of knocked it out of me.
And it's like, honestly, growing up, seeing guys I either played football with, hung out in the neighborhood with, or just saw, like, in passing, like, I've seen at least probably 10 people I've known to some degree, like, end up getting killed.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a scary thing to think about. And that's one of the things I think that and having my child honestly pulled me away from running the streets the way I used to.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Not specifically that, but that's kind of a segue into something else I wanted to talk to. Talk to you about. Why'd you go to Michigan, Wesley?
Oh, God, here we go. For those of you listening at home, I made a dumb decision because I thought it would help my growth. I ran from my problems because back in 2014, I had a place of my own, and I trusted people and pulled them in off the street and let them stay with me, and it backfired dramatically.
You just being a good person bit you right in the ass.
Yeah, it did. And I ended up going to Michigan with somebody who I'm close to still. We talk, but yeah, like, I went up there to stay with a friend, and that whole situation turned catastrophic. I ended up getting locked up, and then after I got out, I was only locked up for a month, by the way. But after I got back out, I was like, no, I'm going home. I'm going home.
Yeah. You did some stuff in between.
Yeah.
Not really ready to talk about that.
No, I mean, we can.
Well,
it was only for a few weeks. I sold dope for a few weeks.
Yeah.
It wasn't a long period of time. It wasn't anything like that.
I think that's an important thing because you kind of got stuck.
Yeah, and I got robbed by crooked cops, by the way. Detroit has crooked cops.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, I know you've told me this story. Tell me again.
So, like, one day, it was when I was in the trap house up there, and, like, literally, I didn't even really open the door. They busted in the door on me, handcuffed me, asked me 1,000 questions. I'm like, bro, what is going on here? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know. And then they beat this chair in, took all the money out of my pocket, took the drugs I had and everything else. And it was just like, bro, am I going to jail? Only thing they did was unhandcuff me and tell me to run, and they better not see me there again. Yeah, I'm so serious.
You hear about crooked cops. You had a run-in with some really bad guys.
Yeah, man, because they made it seem like I was literally going to jail. Because they said, you're going to take a long bus ride if you don't talk. And I'm just like, okay. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. And yeah, like I said, they unhandcuffed me and then told me to run. And me being me, I got the hell out of there. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Good. I remember calling you up there. You telling me kind of like the whole situation of how, you ended up not being where you were supposed to in Michigan in the fucking first place.
Yeah.
I just remember that being such a fucking trek.
Dude, those 4 months were terrible. I'm not gonna lie to anybody. It wasn't perfect at all.
But you said something interesting. You were running from your problems here, and I know that you were talking about how your place burnt down and all that stuff. What were the series of events that led to the burning of your apartment?
Well, I had a friend I used to hang out with all the time. I still talk to him. Shout out Damon, by the way. But like, I met two people through him, and they came over to hang out. I didn't know they were staying on the street. So they come over, they hang out. They're like, "Can we fix something?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool, go ahead." And we're just sitting there talking, smoking, everything else. We're just chilling, hanging out. And they were like, "Do you mind if we stay here for a night?" One night turned into two nights turned into three. And they were like, "Do you mind if we just stay here?" Because I had an open room. And I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." Because me being me, I was just there alone and everything else. And yeah, so the weekend of my apartment getting burned out, I was out here with you. And so my phone was off. I cut my phone off. And something was nagging me all day, telling me I need to turn my phone on. And I woke up because we had a get together the night before. And I woke up and I was just like, I need to go home. Then I was like, nah. And then when I get did you guys drop me off that night? I think you guys dropped me off.
I have no idea. This is so. This is a
I think you guys dropped me off, man. And it was like I thought I was going in the house to take a shower and hop in bed, and it didn't turn out that way. Next thing you know, I end up looking up. Only thing I see is the front side of my apartment just burned out. Like windows knocked in, the door caved in and everything. All my stuff thrown in the backyard, just wet, soggy from busted pipes. I go inside and look around. I'm like, what the fuck happened? And nobody was there to be found.
So you don't even really know how the whole thing played out?
No.
Never. My boy.
From what I heard, the
answers.
2 people I was staying with, one of which is dead now. I mean, they were staying with me. Mm-hmm. They had got into an argument because one of them was messing around with somebody else to piss the other one off while I wasn't there. And I forgot what happened. Like they said he threw like a lighter or set a shirt on fire and left it inside the house or something once he saw she was messing with somebody else. And that's pretty much what happened.
God damn.
Yeah.
Wesley, I'm not going to lie. Some of the stories that you have are fucking crazy. That's why you're here, because you have some really fucking crazy stories. Tell me another one. What's one of the craziest stories you think you got? Oh, he's got his thinking face on. He's rubbing the chin and everything.
Let me think. That's tough.
Just pick any story, even if I've heard it before. It's all right. They haven't.
Okay, so the only time I ever popped half a Xanax in my life.
Oh, here we go.
Because I don't take pills like that. So me and my boys were going out. We're going to Baxter's on Barstown Road. We're going to have a fun night. We're walking up and everything. I black out as soon as I hit the door. I heard stories about how fun the night was on my end, but like I wasn't even in my body. So I didn't know what the hell was going on. And I come to like right around the time we're about to leave. The club lights are coming on. Jermaine's there with me. I tap him like, all right, bro, I'm gonna head out. He's like, bro, we're about to leave the club. Where you going? And next thing you know, I end up walking down Breckenridge Lane, falling asleep on somebody's porch at like 4:00 in the morning and not making it home till 8.
Wait, 8 a.m.?
Yes.
You took half a Xan?
Yeah. I took half a Xan, 13 hours till I land.
Shit. I should have known that was coming. Wesley, could you
had me out like a light.
Why don't you tell us the events that happened after we dropped you off from the Crucible? Jermaine was there. Tell us the story through Jermaine's eyes. And maybe one day we'll have Jermaine on so he can tell us the full story, but give us the best rundown that you can.
So from what he told me, like the minute you guys dropped me off, like you guys had to take me all the way up the stairs, knocked on the door. He said I fell face first in the door, got up, sat in his chair, started drinking his cup of alcohol, I don't know what the fuck went on, like, besides that. And next thing, the only thing I remember is waking up in the middle of the living room, like, what the fuck happened? And they told me about it. I was like, bro.
They said that you also said that they were roasting you for all the shit that we drew all over you.
Dude, when I saw that, I was so fucking pissed. You guys are dicks.
There's no need to go into what was actually written on you, but, you know, it was some pretty horrific shit.
Yeah.
Do you remember pissing all over my bathroom?
No.
So I actually forgot about that also. Me and Michael were doing the podcast Wednesday. Thank you, Jessica. And he was telling me about you were passed out on the shitter. And
I can't tell you how many times I've done that. Not just here, bro. Like,
in general.
Seriously.
Is it the classic Wesley move?
I guess. I mean, from what I've heard, like, bro, I went in the bathroom 1,000 times at, like, when I was staying on First Street and just fell asleep in the bathroom drunk, bro, like, on the toilet, nodding out type shit, bro. It's like, I don't know why. It just happens.
Oh, shit. Tell us, Wesley, you're kind of an aspiring musician, right?
Yeah.
Where did that all start?
Well, honestly, like, cause I was mainly right before my mom had died and everything else, I was in like Caritas, Our Lady of Peace.
Okay.
As a student, like I was there as an inpatient for a little bit, and no, I was an outpatient actually. But yeah, I was going there. I was going to school there, and like they had challenged us to write poems and like short stories and stuff. And that's when I realized I kind of had a good like idea of what it is like rhyming wise, but I never really even looked at music. And then this one time, funny story, it was with two of my friends that lived like by me downtown, and we were walking to 4th Street Live. I had my friend's MP3 iPod listening to music. She had wrestling theme song saved. And she had an AJ Styles theme song back when he switched it to like a hip hop with a rock kick in the back. And I was just listening to the song, and I just started rapping out of nowhere. And the only thing I look over, I see them looking at me like, dude. And I'm just like, what? And then I told you, and you were like, bruh, yeah, definitely, we should try this shit. And then I remember when we had that phone call where you were just giving me random topics from Star Wars to this to that. And it was like, I was just kind of cocky back then, just on some bullshit and trying to figure out just like how to do things when I was just trying to freestyle. But like I said, I thank you for actually challenging me to write, because writing actually gave me some viewpoint. I haven't really recorded anything yet, but I plan on working on that soon.
How sad is it that the last project, I remember looking at you and saying, this is the last project I'm ever going to do. And I knew it had to be the one with you, because we've been talking about it for literal, maybe a decade.
Yeah, but we didn't have the name.
We never had the name up until
we were gonna start the project.
Yeah, up until we actually.
I'd say probably a year prior.
Yeah,
a year prior. Like, honestly, even though it was long overdue, I feel like that was gonna be a really interesting project, because we kind of put a collage of sounds together just to like really do something, and that's what I liked about it.
I agree.
And that's why, like, through a musical journey, I have to keep you with me, bro. That's why I've said it 1,000 times, because, like, me and you bounce ideas great, whether it's music or anything else.
Yeah, and so we were working on Addicts of Addiction.
Yeah.
It was going to be like 30 tracks. Something we had planned, like, a really big project.
Yeah.
Got a lot of it, like, I won't even say half, but we had a lot of it done.
Yeah.
Even some of it recorded.
Yeah.
And then swore up and down that I had that shit backed up. Sold the computer. Only to find out, no, none of that was backed up. And so the only two pieces that we have that remain are Robo Tripping, which was kind of like the defining sound that we were going for through the whole thing. Because I never really, you think I was pretty good, but
dude, I loved your verse on that song, and the way you sounded on the hook was amazing.
We did pretty good with that entire project.
Ladies and gentlemen, even though he doesn't believe it, Devin is a very underrated artist. He's witty and he's smart with his lyrics. He knows how to choose things.
And then there was oh God, what was the one where we did it was the Mos Def beat.
Shit. I know what you're talking about.
We had dubbed in a little interview from Charles Manson at the very beginning.
Oh, you talking about Success?
That's the one.
Yeah.
That was from that project also.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
And it's Mos Def, not Mos Def.
That was a Mos Def beat.
Mos Def, bro. Mos Def.
Oh,
yeah, that's his name. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because it's MOS.
I'm beginning to feel the effects of the alcohol.
This man might be kind of inebriated right now. This podcast is for adults only.
I really think that especially because we started throwing in some EDM, which nowadays is kind of commonplace.
Yeah.
When we first had that idea to kind of start doing it, there were examples of people doing it, but we were kind of ahead of that curve.
Yeah.
Before it really became mainstream and stuff.
And honestly, I think if we would have really ventured into it more, no disrespect to them, but like I know the way they do their sound, but fuck Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. We could have been better than them. We could have been better than them. We could have been a black and white version of them, bro.
I don't know if I could say that we were more talented than Macklemore. Me, definitely not me.
Even though Ryan Lewis is just kind of like the DJ, bro, you still like either way.
I think. Have you ever heard what was it, Wings by Macklemore? Where he's talking about like Jordans and kind of the whole hypocrisy of that. It's pretty good. I'll show you when we're done. But
speaking of, ladies and gentlemen, where the hell is Macklemore?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Neither does the music industry, but anyway.
Hot take.
Maybe 2 or 3 hits and he was out. Not even big hits either. He had Same Love, Thrift Shop, and Can't Hold Us.
I loved that song.
Yeah, that was a really good song.
That was like my fucking theme song for like a year.
And he won a Grammy for it, I think. If I'm right.
Good for him, man. How you like the set so far?
Yeah, man, it's pretty dope.
It's all coming together.
A lot of memories, especially with the light right there.
Yeah, the little heartogram.
Yeah, we've had some classic memories with that.
Remember when we would do the we would throw the little get-togethers, but we had enough alcohol for fucking 50-person parties. But we would get real trippy with it, and me and you would have to go unscrew all the regular light bulbs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember most definitely. I forgot we came up with a name just to psych people out, like there was a character in there or something.
Oh yeah, what was it? I want to say it was Charlie
or Samuel.
It was Samuel.
Yes,
it was Samuel. Why? Why did we do that?
No, bro. Me and you just experimented with everybody else, especially back in the weed smoking days. Mm-hmm. Like, bro, like literally, we used to just sit here and watch everybody, like get the walks, get the munchies. Yep. Just do shit, bro. And it was some of the funniest fucking shit ever.
I remember the first time that happened. We had a pretty good sized group of people.
Yeah.
Over. I won't name names just in case they don't want to be outed, but we had a pretty good sized group. And me and you, I think, went outside to, I don't know, smoke a cigarette or something. We came back in. We noticed that everybody was in conversation. Me and you found ourselves in a unique ability.
Yeah.
To slip in and just fly under the radar. And we just sat at the high top watching everybody else have conversation.
Exactly.
And we would start to notice characteristics of everybody when they started to get really folded and shit.
Yeah.
And then we started doing that all the time.
Right, dude. I swear. That's what I was saying. Like, bro, we used to just sit and observe half the time, bro. Just watch.
Which makes it sound really creepy, but it was just funny.
Me and you would be high as hell, bro, just watching everybody else. Everybody else would tap out. Me and you would still be going back and forth with the ball, like when you had Nessie and when you had everything else, bro. Like, we used to just literally... Darth Vapor. I remember when you told you, I died laughing when you literally caught her and said, "Bring me Darth Vapor." I was like, bro, why did he say it like that? It was freaking hilarious.
That thing was sketchy as fuck. It looked like Thomas Edison built that in his fucking garage. Like,
but it was iconic and it had a lot of smoke.
It did have a lot. Once you put the nug in, you had no choice but to inhale.
You're fucking gone.
Yeah, and then Nessie. I forgot about Nessie. What was the orange one that we had?
Shit. I don't know.
I can't remember the name. I remember. What?
No, you remember when you had your tobacco pipe smoking face?
Yes. Because the whole idea was that you know, because even back then, I was still trying to make at least somewhat better decisions in my health and stuff, and I knew smoking was really, really bad for you, and I was like, okay, well, I'm obviously not going to quit smoking. How can I do it a little more healthy? And I looked into it. Turns out, you know, cigarettes are really bad for you.
Yeah.
Tobacco is also bad for you, but if you just get pure tobacco and you smoke it out of a pipe, it's actually a little bit better for you.
Yeah.
So I tried. Yeah, no, that was a failed experiment at best. At best.
He was under Sherlock Holmes.
I sure did. I looked like a motherfucking idiot.
Only thing you needed was a robe to go along with it.
Yeah, I would have loved it.
Hugh Hefner type shit.
I would have loved it.
That shit was comedy. We've had a lot of classic moments. A lot.
I remember all the the end of third shift drives home.
Oh yeah, that was legendary.
Nothing will top the morning, and we've talked about this so many times at nausea even. But that morning, we were fucking blasting. Was it Rella?
Yeah.
Losing our minds at like 8 a.m. on Bardstown Road.
Every time. Mainly because of Tyler the Creator's part.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Knock knock, who's there? Hey man, that always got us every time.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Do you remember robo tripping?
Yes.
You did that with us, right?
A bunch of times.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because it was most of the time it was me, you, and Jeremy Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just getting absolute ignorant.
Dude.
And there was only a couple, even no matter how much we drank, it always seemed hit and miss.
Do you remember along with that was a part of the Flatbush zombie phase too?
Yes.
We had so many freaking phases. I'm still mad I didn't go to that Hobson concert with you guys. If I would have known I could go, bro, I would have been in that cypher.
Yeah,
I would have been.
It wasn't because all three guys that they pulled on stage were whack. They were terrible.
I would have probably got signed by Hobson, I'm not going to lie. And everybody tells me I look like Hobson, but I don't see it.
I don't see it either. It's just because you're tall and dark.
Hobson isn't even tall, I think.
I think he's tall because he made fun of Kendrick Lamar being short. So he must be at least kind of tall.
Honestly, and this is the part of the segment where we say 90% of your favorite rappers are short. 5'5" and under.
That is what 5'5"?
Yeah, like Lil Wayne's like 5'5", 5'6". Lil Wayne, Lil Bootsy, Tory Lanez, who else? A bunch of them are really short though.
Do you think that the local music industry is in Louisville starting to gain some traction?
Yes, 1,000%.
More than the last, let's say 10 years ago.
Beyond.
Yeah. Could you give me some examples? There's
Honestly,
some obvious ones.
Yeah, of course. Bryson Tiller, Jack Harlow. Mm-hmm. Rest in peace to Static Major, by the way. He was the guy who was already kind of on the forefront, but he wasn't in front of the camera as much. He had been known for being a great songwriter, but he was more behind the camera than in front of the camera. And then, Lollipop came out in 2008 with Lil Wayne, and then after that, he died.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. After that, he died. And he's a Grammy Award winner because of that song. But he wrote some, really good songs like Rock the Boat for Aaliyah. I think he wrote Pony for Genuine.
Really?
He was a part of, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
I shit you not.
There's a lot of that happening, too. And maybe it's just I was oblivious to it before, but there's a lot of people that I'm realizing are starting to actually make a name for themselves, but they spent a lot of time ghostwriting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on. One of Jessica's favorites. I don't even want to take the time to look it up because it'll be just silence on the comments. But yeah, I'm noticing that a lot. You talked a lot about, when we were doing the Thoughts from the Mothership last Sunday. Or was it Friday? It doesn't matter. We were talking a lot about music inspirations and stuff like that, and obviously Michael Jackson was the number one for you. But
yeah, always.
But we couldn't expand on any of that. So let's talk about maybe. So if you had to pick a couple people that come up right behind Michael Jackson,
good question. I'd say my main influences come from R&B and soul music. So growing up, Michael Jackson, James Brown, Al Green, Stevie Wonder. Even as a kid, I'm not gonna lie, I watched certain stuff maybe like Elvis related and everything. I was like really deep into music, and like Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney's collaborations were awesome to me. Like The Girl Is Mine and Say Say Say, those were really good songs. Like I said, James Brown, Al Green, Sam Cooke, who else? Teddy Pendergrass, Barry White, newer artists like Usher, Neo, Chris Brown. Hip hop wise, like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. Not so much new Drake, but old Drake.
Old Drake.
Bryson Tiller, of course. I like Jack Harlow, but I wouldn't put him as like one of my inspirations. He's great though. I like what he's doing. He's on the come up for sure.
I think he deserves to be where he is.
Yeah, he's yeah, most definitely. He's a very smart lyricist, and he's very catchy too. Like he makes stuff you want to listen to. Like his music can gravitate and pull you in, and that's a beautiful thing. Like he said, he wants to write lyrics to where like people in the room can really relate to it. And like when you cut the sound off, people know all the lyrics to it. And that's a dope thing. That's what you aspire for as an artist. But like guys like I said, Chris Brown, who else? Jay-Z, Nas. I have a lot of musical inspirations, like guys like.
Well, okay, but you mentioned Chris Brown, Usher. Do you think that those are the people who echo kind of like your early inspirations, like Michael Jackson, James Brown? Do you think that they're the kind of the closest thing that we have in the newer? Music?
For sure.
That's for sure.
Another thing about like the reason I like Chris Brown the most is like his dynamic and his versatility, because he doesn't just stick with one sound. He can do R&B, he can do pop, he can do hip hop, he can do EDM, he can do everything. He's ventured into all the hell. He's even done Spanish music.
Yeah,
like he's done a lot. It's like, and that's what you want. Even Usher has. Usher doesn't rap, but I mean Usher's ventured into a lot of different lanes. Like one of my favorite Usher songs is "Without You," him and David Guetta, and that was like probably 2012, if I'm right. And artists who are willing to venture out. Like guys like Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar changing his sound and adding more of like a funk soul tip to it was like something really dope.
So you like seeing that in an artist.
Yeah.
The versatility.
Yeah, it's like if you stick with one sound, you're gonna get boring.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no disrespect to Drake at all, but like a lot of his like newer stuff, like coming past, if I would say, Nothing Was the Same. Like that would no wait. Because If You're Reading This Was Too Late was after Nothing Was the Same.
Yeah, right, I think so, yeah.
But like after If You're Reading This Is Too Late, it's like,
yes, for sure.
Like Views, More Life, everything started kind of sounding a lot alike. He had some different songs, but a lot of it started sounding alike. And that's what you don't want. You want to develop your sound, you want to grow. Don't get me wrong. Drake's sound is amazing. But it's like
a lot of people, you're going to piss a lot of people off with this take.
They'll be okay.
I mean, yeah, it's just your opinion. But a lot, Drake is, and for a reason. I mean, he does definitely have an appealing sound even now. But
yeah,
I am in the same field as you. As I actually enjoy more the older Drake sound. I have this theory. I have this theory about a lot of artists, and in a lot of different categories, not just music. But I feel like, when you're on the come up, and you haven't made it yet, you put your all into it.
Yeah.
You put your heart and soul into it. Once you kind of made it, what else do you have to prove?
Yeah.
And I kind of have that theory about not just music, but kind of everybody. I mean,
yeah.
When you're trying your hardest when you're trying to make it. And if you're not, then you never make it.
Yeah. I agree with that 1,000%. Like, watching The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary about like the 90s Bull, like his whole career, honestly, and like seeing the way after 3 championships he was ready to walk away pretty much, and they were already calling him the greatest player that ever lived. And he was like, I have nothing else to prove. I've done it all. I'm the only player that's ever won 3 in a row besides Bill Russell, of course. I mean, who won 8 in a row back in the 60s, but yeah, like in the modern era of basketball. Like he was like, I have nothing else to prove. I've done it all. and he was like, he just wanted to go play baseball and live his life different. But he came back, won 3 more, and was just like, yeah, what else can I say?
Yeah.
And it's like guys in the music industry, sports, it's like once you reach that pinnacle, a lot of guys lose their drive. A lot of guys don't.
Yeah. I was going to say that you do kind of see that in the sports world also. I've heard a lot of people, I'm not a big sports guy, but I've heard a lot of people make that argument. It's like, you really start to see some really peak athleticism with guys in college who haven't made it pro yet.
Right.
And then when they go pro, they kind of fizzle out. Of course, that's not true for everybody, but I have heard that argument made.
I agree. Because like a lot of guys get comfortable once they make it professional. It's like once they go from the college ranks, once they get drafted and work from where they wanted to go, they made it to where they wanted to go their whole life virtually. They're like, I'm here, I'm getting paid for it. This is all I need.
Yeah.
They don't aspire to grow. A lot of them,
which is fine.
Yeah, a lot of them just don't want to get better. They get comfortable. And that's what can honestly backfire on you a lot. Like a lot of guys get to a certain point and just fall off. Like one thing I like, speaking on Michael Jordan again, a thing I was like that I noticed that he did that I even read about in his biography. Michael Jordan won 6 titles, but after every championship, he never really wore his rings because he said he didn't want to get comfortable because he wanted to go win more. He had that drive, and it's like hell. Even though I'm not a big fan of his, honestly, if he wins a championship in Tampa, he's the GOAT. I'll give it to him. But Tom Brady at 43, going on 43, still isn't done. He still wants to prove shit.
I'm not a big Tom Brady fan either, but you have to respect what he's done.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a guy who don't even pay attention to sports. You have to give him credit where credit's due.
Yeah, and he stays in peak athletic condition.
And I know a lot of people will say, oh, well, they're cheating and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. There might be a point to be made there. I'm certainly not the guy to make that argument.
That's mainly my point. I'm not going to lie to you.
But regardless, the man is definitely a top-tier athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no denying that.
And he never let himself get out of shape. Like you see other all-time greats like Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning had neck surgery, gained weight.
my dude's doing insurance commercials.
Dude. Still getting paid a boatload for it.
Good for him, man. That's all I got to say.
Direct TV with his brother and everything.
Good for you, man. Make your money. Make your money. I'll be happy when I can sit back and just read some lines for a commercial.
Dude, I promise you. I want to be like Shaq. That's my favorite basketball player of all time.
What do you think?
And the thing, hold on. And the thing I heard about Shaq is Shaq has never really touched his NBA contract money. All the money he's been spending is from his endorsements.
That's crazy.
Over his career. From Reebok, because he's had Reebok, he's had his own shoe. He's had a bunch of different endorsements, like movies and everything else, like to where he really doesn't have to spend his NBA contract money because he's done so much.
Are you aware of the? I hesitate to say that this is a fact now, but I'm pretty sure it is. Are you aware of the fact that Michael Jackson's father chemically castrated him?
I have heard about it.
To preserve his voice that way?
I have heard about that.
That's fucked.
That's why, contrary to all belief, like, I heard, like, honestly, even though certain, like, women who were involved with him said certain things, like, I've heard because of that, Michael was never really sexually active ever in his life.
And that wouldn't really surprise you, right?
No.
Because that's, you're destroying, I mean, that's because they did it so that they could kind of preserve his, like, boyish sound and stuff.
Yeah, because his voice was ultra light.
When you look at the rest of his family members, I mean, they're all kind of bigger guys. I mean, right? Like, and he's kind of dainty and
small.
Yeah, he was anyway, and he kind of moved a little bit. There was something very feminine about him from the beginning, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and he just had that quiet element to him.
Yeah.
Like, a thing I also saw, like, watching, like, behind the music and everything else, because, like, when it comes to, like, my favorite artist, I dig a little deep sometimes. And, like, they said Michael, before he would go on stage, he'd be, like, ultra shy, hiding behind people and everything. But when he goes out there, he's on at all times. The man
was a performer.
Exactly. And that's why, like, I honestly, He's one of the main reasons I fell in love with music. I'll tell people that because the way he controlled a stage, controlled a crowd, like all eyes were on him. In today's generation, it's like you can go to a concert and it's like people in the crowd will be having fun and stuff, but a lot of them, you'll look down if you see some from some angles at concerts, people are on their phones, people aren't really paying attention, people are quiet, people aren't really into the show.
Do you think that that's because of a lack of showmanship, or do you think that that's just because, I mean, because like if you think about it, like back when Michael Jackson was performing, you didn't really have you didn't literally have the world at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Do you think it's more, or do you think it's both?
I think technology has changed a lot.
I agree. Even in our lifetime, I remember growing up, and like obviously the internet was around, but like it wasn't like it is today. You still went out and played. You still but now it's like with my kids, it's like I don't want to stop them from using technology because that's the world they're going to live in.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are making tons of money doing that.
And it's only going to advance even more.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like at some point I want to like preserve like that kind of childhood memory that I had growing up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to inhibit their ability to learn what their world's going to be like. And so it's weird. It's weird. Do you have that balance with Justice? Like trying to like keep her.
Thank you.
Keep her kind of sheltered from the internet, just to preserve like that kind of pureness.
Like honestly, at the same time, it's a yes and no factor.
Yeah, me too.
Because I don't want to just like keep her out, especially when the like in summertime and the wintertime. I don't want to take her out when the temperature is like dangerous because I don't want. It's like I'll take her to the park, let her play, let her run around. But if it's like 97 degrees, I'm not going to keep her out there super long.
Right.
Because I know she'll get tired, and I know she'll like eventually she doesn't even have to be out there long, and she'll want to go back in the house. And it's like, yeah, she does use my phone. Yeah, she watches TV, but she watches a lot of educational stuff too.
Yeah.
Like,
but I find myself on both sides because it's like, you know, you don't know if you know, Justice might grow up and to be like one of these, you know, huge YouTube influencers or whatever the fuck it'll be called, you know, when they're adults. And why would you want to stop them from learning the internet? But at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
Because it's like,
it feels weird to me because we grew up without that.
Yeah, and it's like, honestly, when you look at it,
Corona time, baby.
Corona time.
Not to be confused with COVID.
Right. But no, yeah, like when I honestly sit back and look at it, like she really wants to do music. She wants to do a lot of things.
No one.
I mean, like she sings in the choir with her mom at church. She low-key is learning, like, she hasn't really learned a lot, but she's starting to learn how to play, like, drums and keyboard and stuff like that. And she's really into it. And crazy thing, without me teaching her, even though it's not the original version, her favorite song is a Michael Jackson song, and it's my favorite Michael Jackson song. Her favorite song is Human Nature.
Human Nature. What's that one? How's that one go?
Why? Tell them that it's human nature. Why?
Yeah, I do know that one.
That's not, yeah.
Okay, I got confused at first because I thought that was the one where he does the music video. No, now
Human Nature doesn't have a music video.
Okay, see, that's the problem. I thought that was the one. The one I'm thinking of that immediately when you said that, and I don't know why I'm getting confused here, but it's because I don't listen to Michael Jackson as much as you do. The one that he does, I believe it's in South America, maybe Brazil.
Oh, they don't really care about us.
That's the one. That's the one. When you said Human Nature, that's immediately what I thought of. But that's just because I don't listen to as much as you do.
Yeah, no. Just like you listen to the Beatles and I don't.
Right. I mean, but the difference is I do listen to some Michael Jackson. You don't listen to no fucking Beatles songs. Except for the ones that everybody knows.
Pretty much.
I remember that conversation too. I remember you were like, I don't even know any Beatles. I'm like, motherfucker, yes you do.
Yeah, I know, and it's like, do you say goodbye, say hello, and then help?
I need somebody.
Help. That song I heard before it was in a commercial. The crazy thing about it, I first heard Come Together because of the Moonwalker movie. Because Michael Jackson remade Come Together by the Beatles. In my opinion, I like it better than the original version.
A lot of people redid that song.
It's more up-tempo and it has more fire to it. But, yeah. Like, There's a lot. What?
I'm just thinking of how many times you've said like. Can somebody at home do a
Force
tally?
of habit. Okay, everybody get your clickers out. We're gonna do a count right now. But yeah, I know a few Beatles songs. I probably know 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I know "Imagine" by John Lennon. Everybody
course,
knows that song, like you said. But I know the ones everybody knows.
Yeah. That's fair. Beatles are they're so old.
Yeah, and it's like their sound, like when it comes to older sound, their sound wasn't. It was okay, but it wasn't as crisp as everybody else's.
What I will say about like what one of the things that I think is really important to keep in mind is they were one of the pioneers of doing stereo instead of mono.
Yeah,
and I think that was incredibly important for the music
I
industry.
never really knew that.
Yeah, so like if you go to listen to a lot of like older Beatles songs, if you listen to it with one earbud in, at sometimes there won't be any audio in that earbud because it's on the other earbud. And now, of course, we've gotten a lot better about that.
Yeah.
But people still do master in stereo format instead of, like, there's a reason there's a left and right earbud because there's different sounds coming from that.
Right.
Kind of creates a 360. Yeah, they were.
For sure.
They were one of the pioneers. There's a couple other, but they were one of the pioneers of that.
Just like you said that about them, like Michael Jackson's sound changed music.
Oh, 100%.
It's like the instrumentation and the way he did everything really upped it. Him and Prince were two of the guys who really changed the complete sound and surface of music.
And the pure amount of money that was being thrown at these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no wonder that obviously they changed the music industry. There was so much money being thrown at their feet. They had the ability to literally change how music sounded.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the thing about it, even though he came up with his brothers, everybody knows the Jackson 5 needed Michael more than Michael needed the Jackson 5. Everybody knew.
That's clear based on Michael's career.
Yeah. It's like you see Jermaine's the only other one that really tried to go solo, and that didn't work out at all.
Yeah.
I mean, he had like Let's Get Serious and everything, but he didn't have like big hits like Michael.
And his sister?
Yeah, Janice, we're talking about the guys in the Jackson 5.
Okay.
We're not talking about...
I thought you were just talking about the family.
In my opinion, like stage performance-wise, Janet is the greatest female performer of all time.
Of all time.
Because that, back in her prime, amazing dancer, amazing vocalist, even to this day, even though she's in her 50s, she can still perform great. Mm. But, yeah, like, seriously, you look at certain people from certain... There's always, like, with bands that come out together, there's always that one lasting member. Mm. Like, NSYNC. Justin Timberlake's the only one to have a successful big music career out of all of them because he was the face.
Not just music anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, the man's well diverse at this point.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Dick in the box. He even kind of did comedian stuff. You know?
He's funny as hell.
Yeah.
It's not gay if it's in a 3-way.
The golden rule.
Never gets old. But yeah, there's a lot, and just like the avenues today, it's like artists are continuing more and more to not just do music. They're branching out into acting more. They're changing their sounds. They're becoming more diverse, and they're doing a lot.
I know you don't know a whole lot about Chance the Rapper. No. But Chance and Childish Gambino, and I think I actually heard this from Childish Gambino, but he was talking about it because Chance was the one that taught him this. A lot of their music they put out for free.
Yeah.
And it's because they made the argument where it was like, you know, if kids want to listen to this music, they're going to get it for free.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to get to hear this for free. So instead, why not just try to release it for free, or at least some of it, and then try to promote their personal brand and make money that way?
Yeah. Oh, Chance the Rapper interview I saw, like, he even said he doesn't really make profit off his app. He makes money off of it because the deal he has with Apple. Mm. Like, he said the Coloring Book album to Apple, I think for maybe $200,000, maybe.
What a deal.
Yeah, no. And that album sold a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a great deal for Apple.
Yeah, and he won 3 Grammys off of that project. The thing about it, he said he makes more of his money off of merchandise and ticket sales.
Yep.
The thing about it, his 3 hats, the infamous hats.
Oh, yeah.
He said he made $6 million off of those.
Just the hats?
Yep.
Holy shit.
And Chance the Rapper
Somebody figure out how we make hats. Somebody quick.
No, but like seriously, a few years ago, Chance the Rapper was worth about $9 million. I don't know how much he's worth now. But the thing about it, record labels are still dying to sign this guy. Even though I don't think his last project was that great.
But he's
nobody really thought it was.
He's very much in the camp of not signing with the label, right? He wants to do it kind of on his own.
He's not going to sign with the label. And labels are trying to sign him for his net worth. Like, literally, he was worth $9 million getting $10 million record deal offers and turning them down.
At what point do you start to just say, like, take the money?
Man, and it's crazy, like, seeing a guy like who died last year, Nipsey Hussle. Like, the way he did his thing, bro, it's like he spent so many years underground coming up to where he made money and his name was well known in the streets already as an artist. And that's why he said when he actually signed his deal with Atlantic, he had too much leverage because his name was already out there so well. The man was a pioneer. He literally put out he started the Proud to Pay Act to where he, in 2011, if I'm right, the Crenshaw mixtape, he was selling a mixtape for $100 a piece.
Like individually?
Yep. And do you know who's the person who bought 100 copies of that mixtape?
Tell me.
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z spent $10,000 on that man's mixtape. Just because. And he sold that mixtape out. Like, literally. That was a pioneering move. Like, he literally... That's why, it was a great thing to see. Because he was independent, doing it on his own. And his name was out there well enough to where he could say, I'm putting this out for $100 and people buy it. That's why he said when he signed with the record label, it was more of a distribution deal before he died. Because he was like, I want to do things on my own terms, still have control of my own stuff, do my own thing, but use them to put my content out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. I mean, being able to sell any one piece of content for $100 to the consumer directly is impressive as hell. That's I mean, that's like me. Okay, that's like me saying, all right, hey, I've got, you know, because what was that? How long do you think that mixtape was? If you had to take a guess,
probably about 20, 30 songs.
So you got to think like what, like like over an hour, but it's like at most like what, 2.5 hours at most.
Guessing, yeah.
Yeah, just guessing, obviously. But that's like me going up to you and saying, hey, I've got 2.5 hours worth of music here. You want to buy it for $100? What, as like an investment? No, just so you can listen to it. Like, that's power. Yeah. That's so much leverage.
And Nipsey was like honestly one of the smartest artists of our generation. Like, the way he did things and the way he was giving game in his music about, like, he was telling other rappers the same way J. Cole was trying to tell the younger generation of rappers on his last album. Like, don't just get the deal, go buy jewelry, go do this, and blow all the money. Because that's how they get you trapped.
Oh, yeah.
In those deals.
It's when you don't got no more money.
Exactly. And you end up having to work your butt off to pay the record label back.
Then you're scratching to sign another deal.
Exactly. Because the thing about it that's a gamble with the record label, it's like, you look at it. Artist CDs will go into stores and go on shelves, even though nobody really buys CDs off shelves. I'm talking about, like, yeah. But either way beforehand, like when they were, it's like artists their CDs would be on shelves for $10 to $15 a pop. That album goes platinum, that's $15 million.
Right.
$10 to $15 million.
Yeah.
And you might see $1 million out of that.
Oh yeah, the label's gonna get their cut.
Yeah, they're taking a majority. That's why any artist will tell you nowadays. J. Cole was one of the main ones who said it. You're gonna get your money off the road. Touring is where you're gonna make your money, not album sales.
Yeah, and they're getting. I've seen an article about streaming now, because most people are streaming nowadays, and the artists are getting fucked even more off streaming than they ever were off CDs, and they were already getting screwed on CDs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's like, honestly, you have to really look into the terms of your contract, and you have to know how to work it, and you have to have an amazing work ethic.
Who was the band that did the soundtrack for Limitless? Do you remember who they were?
The Limitless movie?
Yeah, the movie.
With Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah. Was he in that one?
Where you take the pill and it makes you smarter?
I don't think that was Matthew McConaughey, bro. No, he certainly wasn't the lead.
Bradley Cooper?
That's the one. They
I
also
don't
did
know.
Gold on the Ceiling.
You got me on this one.
Gold on the Ceiling. I gotta look it up.
But yeah, like seriously, knowing how to leverage and knowing how to do it is a major like thing. Because me, that's something I would not do, because the advice I've heard from other artists, if I sign a deal, I'm not touching that money. I'm not even gonna play with it, because I'm not gonna go out here and buy this and that. It's like most I might do is give me a little crib. That's it.
It's the Black Keys, by the way. The Black Keys were doing an interview where they were talking about how they were getting fucked on streaming. And I mean, their biggest album was their first one, you know, where they did that soundtrack or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of fizzled out after that. I'm a big fan, but whatever. I can only imagine, you know, especially when you're such a smaller artist. Like, obviously, Jay-Z is not getting fucked.
No.
Not the same way, anyway. Not the same way. Diddy's not getting fucked. If Diddy decides to put out a fucking project, he's not getting fucked.
Yeah, because he is the label. He's going to put the project out.
He's not worried about any of that.
Yeah, Jay-Z's the same way now. I mean, Jay-Z's been that way for a majority of his career, because Jay-Z said at first record labels didn't want to sign him, so he signed himself.
He's a businessman.
Yeah.
I mean, say what you want about everything about him, but I mean, the man knows what he was doing.
Exactly.
He did not slow down the hustle at all once he started, you know, making it.
Yeah, and it's like, honestly, when you really look at it, it's like his marriage. Him and Beyonce, they can be in love or whatever they want to say, but at the same time, it's like that marriage is a business deal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say that, but you cannot ignore the financial benefits of that powerhouse of a
because we know neither one of them is selling out football stadiums by themselves. They do a tour together, they're selling out football stadiums around the world.
Yeah, I mean that's first off, that's crazy. When you're an artist and you go to a country, a non-English speaking country, and you can still sell out, that's insane.
Yeah. America
is such a powerhouse for that kind of stuff too. Mm-hmm. You don't really see, you kind of see it, you know, like maybe in the UK. So every now and then there's a band or somebody who comes out of the UK and they do well. You don't really see that anywhere else.
Yeah. And it's like the growth especially between America and the UK, like they support a lot of our artists like crazy.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them, like, yeah, that's a big deal. If you can, that's a big segue for an artist and a big deal, like chart wise. If you can be number one in the US and be number one in the UK at the same time, that's huge.
Oh yeah. The amount of influence that you're putting on the world.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I agree.
And the fact that any one person, obviously it can't, you know, any of these big artists it's not one person. There's an entire team working on this, but you know, just one individual who started the movement and then got a team behind them enough to influence millions of people all over the world is crazy.
And think about the artists who had to do it back when record sales were record sales and not streaming.
Oh yeah.
Streaming speeds up record sales. But it's like the crazy thing about streaming is like money wise, an artist has to make $1 million off of streams, you have to like have 1 billion streams.
Yeah.
But
that's what I'm saying. They're kind of getting fucked.
Because it's like traditional record sales were way different. Even though artists were only getting pennies on the dollar back then, still. Like Will Smith put an emphasis on point in the Will remix with Joyner Lucas. Mm-hmm. He was like, I sold 60 million records when people had to actually go to the store.
I love that line.
Where they had to actually wait in line and go to a store and get it.
Way before iTunes and the fans had to get CDs.
Exactly.
Still. Love that line.
And that's really a testament to like
the older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they have to actually go out and purchase the album. It's not just go on YouTube, go on Spotify, do this, do that.
And especially in a world where nowadays you can literally get you never have to leave the house.
Yeah, you don't.
You never have. If you don't want to, you never have to leave the house as long as you got money.
Right, man. That's all you have to do. I
mean, and to be able to say that people would leave their house and still go buy CDs in a world where it's like that. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, man.
What do you make about this whole Kim Kardashian and Kanye West thing going on?
What do I make of it?
Yeah, do you know anything about it?
That whole relationship was bound to be drama from the start, honestly. That relationship was built to be like a media frenzy. Like, honestly, there's couples that are couples to be together and couples to be together because of power and influence and the money they can make.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, a lot of these couples are set up by record labels, media, everything else.
You think so?
Yes.
That's a bold claim.
Dude, PR relationships are huge in the music industry. Why do you think going back to him, why do you think half of Drake's relationships with famous women haven't lasted that long?
One more time. Hit me with the question again.
I said, why do you think, like, even though he hasn't been with a lot of famous women, like, why do you think his relationships with some famous women haven't lasted that long? Like Jennifer Lopez. That was a publicity stunt.
You think so?
Yes.
Who was the one that he worked with on Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
Oh, Brad Pitt and
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
I mean, they fell in love on set, right?
From what I heard, but at the same time, you knew that would take the movie up a different level. If it's
That's like a fair point.
It is.
That's a fair point.
Because it's like, and then the media circus that surrounded it. It's like he was with Jennifer Aniston when the movie started.
Yeah.
Drops her, gets with Angelina before the movie like really drops or right around the time.
Hollywood's crazy.
It is.
You got to be a special kind of crazy to make it there.
Yeah, and it's like crazy thing about it, it's around the time Drake dropped More Life. And he had a song on there where he sampled Jennifer Lopez. And he was going to do a whole video for it and everything. I don't know what happened. It was a song called Teenage Fever. And he sampled a Jennifer Lopez song. And it's like, they didn't even stay together that long. They were together maybe, a few weeks. And
Drake's all in his feelings.
Ergo Kiki, do you love me?
I don't want to say the
like,
words. I don't want to get demonetized.
And it's like, I'm a Drake fan, but at the same time, Drake's music has digressed. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, again,
he'll come out with a few good songs here and there, but it's like,
there's so many people that are going to disagree with you on that.
They can disagree.
I mean, yeah, because it's all opinion based.
Yeah, feel free.
I'm right there with what I really miss most about Drake is especially like his really early work where he was literally it was rap. It was hip hop. It was not this kind of, I mean, and he is kind of the one that made hip hop what it is now. The sound that we're hearing now is because of Drake. So Drake, I mean, I guess in a way you have to give you definitely need to give him props for that.
Yeah.
But like there was something really just, you could just tell the kid had a lot of skill.
Yeah.
You know that the verses on
if he writes,
I'm going in. Well, yeah, that's a different conversation. But like I'm going in, the verse he had on that.
Yeah.
That was fucking flame.
Yeah. And
there was some real lyrical, and now it does sound like, even if he doesn't have ghostwriters, which, I'm not
still waiting there.
I'm not versed enough in that to make that argument, but
I ain't gonna lie, that I'm going in verse is classic.
That all of his sound nowadays, it does sound like there's a team behind and they are definitely trying to make money.
I give his producer ultra credit. 40 is an incredible producer. Like the beats behind Drake, the uniqueness behind his sound, especially which we still can say to this day, even 8 years after, Take Care is Drake's greatest album. He has not topped it.
So many people.
He has not topped it.
There are people screaming right now.
He is not. It's true. He has not made an album better than Take Care. He hasn't.
Wesley, I am so happy that you were my first guest on Down to Earth.
I'm grateful, brother. I'm grateful. I'm happy to be here.
We're definitely going to do this. Me and you are going to have a couple episodes, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. You already know.
But that's going to be everything for today's episode on Down to Earth. Wesley, thanks for coming on again. You can find Wesley on Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. Wesley, is there anything else you want to add and or plug?
Just plug Grayman Media one time for the episode. plug my brother on the other end, Devin Gray. Follow him on all social media if he hasn't told you already. And just love to everybody out there. Hope y'all staying safe.
Awesome. All right. Again, for Grayman Media, I'm Devin. Don't forget, a new episode of Thought from the Mothership airs this Monday, and we'll see you next week.